Welcome to the Cole Israel Foundation Reveal, the first showing of our new Holocaust education exhibit available to all Northeast Ohio students in grades 7 to 12. I am Mark Frank, President of the Board of Cole Israel Foundation. I am delighted to see so many Zoom faces, an eclectic mix of donors, friends, educators, board members, docents, and most important of all, our survivors. It gives us great pleasure today to thank you all for making this new exhibit possible. As we enter our 61st year as an organization, we rededicate our mission to celebrate the resilience of our families who survived, remember the 6 million Jewish men and women and children who perished at the hands of the Nazis, and redouble our efforts to educate the greater community about the lessons of the Holocaust. We celebrated our 60th anniversary last October with a spectacular party at the Ritz-Carlton, co-chaired by Nancy McCann and Jeff Weaver. We cannot thank them enough for their efforts to create such a successful event. We are gratified to have the support of our generous donors. We promised you that your donations would be used to create a modernized educational program. We have lived up to that promise and are so proud to present the new exhibit. Its importance cannot be overstated, especially at this time when anti-Semitism is hitting so close to home.
We are appalled and horrified to see the continual rise of anti-Semitism and bigotry towards minorities. I'm Hallie Duchamp, Executive Director of Cole Israel Foundation and granddaughter of survivors. According to the ADL, there have been approximately 4 anti-Semitic occurrences every day in 2020. We are often hearing about influential public figures like celebrities, professional athletes, even elected officials spewing hateful anti-Semitic or racist remarks. Holocaust deniers and white supremacists are getting increased exposure via social media platforms. Throughout the world, anti-Semitic views are being perpetuated by the increase of presence of authoritarian leaders. Just last month in our own community, haters spread their venom with symbols of Nazism sprayed along the buildings at Cedar and Green. And let's not forget about our former Director of Health, Amy Acton, who endured countless anti-Semitic acts or the killing of George Floyd. It cannot be stated enough, never again. Our survivor population is diminished from the 52 founders that became family in 1959. They are our constant reminders of why Holocaust education is so important. You will hear from a few of our cherished survivors in a few minutes. COVID-19 prevented us from revealing the exhibit in April as originally planned. But thanks to Zoom, we are ready for the reveal now. I am so pleased to introduce Mary-Ann Lax, our Cole Israel educator, who brings broad educational expertise and personal Jewish passion to the program. She was the creative force behind the new exhibit.
Thank you, Hallie. I began as Cole Israel's education director a year ago and have been very humbled by my experience. It gives me great pleasure to build onto a program that was lovingly tended to by my predecessor, Louise Freilich. Our education programs rely heavily on the commitment, passion, and dedication of our docent community. This makes our program successful. Thank you to our docents. Many bring a personal connection to the Holocaust. They all work hard to bring this history alive for the students. Why is it important to teach the Holocaust? First, for remembrance. Our stories need to be told to use the Holocaust as a reminder to inspire us to confront hatred in our constantly changing world. 2, relevance, using the lessons of the Holocaust to explore how painful memories can be remembered. And responsibility, learning how the Holocaust informs and educates us about our responsibility in our communities today. The passion and poignancy of our survivors inspire and motivate us to continue our mission.
I am the voice of those who perished in the Holocaust. I bear witness for the Jewish people who suffered for reasons of discrimination and hate.
All the survivors have a completely different story, because in order to survive, you had to be at the right place at the right time. You had to be the right age, maybe even the right sex. You had to have somebody helping you. And besides that, you had to be lucky.
I had a job at American Greetings. So as I was walking home, since I'm Jewish and wearing a skull cap, a car passed me and yelled out, "You dirty Jew." Well, I thought I would never ever hear that in this country.
There are more and more people who deny that the Holocaust ever happened. And as long as us Holocaust survivors are still alive, we have to make sure that people realize that it unfortunately happened. And no amount of deniers can take it away.
It is important for me to tell my experience in the Holocaust because I feel that God helped me to survive, to tell the world what happened.
When I meet the people that I speak to, it's nice. I like to talk to them and I like to hear what they think and it's interesting how they react to what I tell them. I get the feeling that they're thinking about it, and that's what I want them to do.
I heard about an organization called Face to Face. I find it very important for me to talk to young people about hatred.
And that we must accept the differences between people. And we have to have respect for all people. Respect is the most important thing. You have to remember, even if you disagree with the people on your religion, your beliefs, your anything, you've got to respect them. And if you respect them, then you can't hate.
People need to be aware, so this kind of suffering shouldn't happen to any human being on this earth ever again. People need to speak up against hate.
One of the things we say, you have to watch for the signs. And the signs now are scary. And the propaganda and not telling the truth, trying to disengage the media, that's all a bad sign.
And there is absolutely no place in this world for any kind of hatred like this. So it's very important that when you see or hear something, don't be afraid to speak out.
And as long as the kids see us in person, they will remember then that it happened.
Our youth are the future of our world. We need to teach them, as it is not too late for them to learn. It will be up to them to learn from our mistakes, to eliminate hate and discrimination.
So I have to keep telling, especially young people, what really happened, because it can't be forgotten. And maybe in the future, some of those young people will be the ones that can prevent it from happening again. That's what I'm hoping.
We need to help generations figure out what never again means, and the first step is education. Our program is primarily designed for students in grades 7 through 12 and is also available for university students and community groups. It continues to focus on critical thinking, expose the consequences of hate as experienced in the Holocaust, and encourages students to become open-minded and outspoken advocates. The redesigned exhibit maintains the integrity of the history of the Holocaust in an updated, flexible format. Personal stories and 5 new stations have been created for relevance to today's social climate. Our exhibit includes 14 banners with new topics to explore, such as the United States' response to the Holocaust, refugee crisis, definitions and variations of concentration camps, expanded stories of rescue, justice, accountability, and other historical genocides. It also includes 32 profiles highlighting personal Holocaust experiences. There are 2 tabletop banners outlining the early warning signs of genocide, and 1 tabletop banner about anti-Semitism, which provides context for the Holocaust. Recognizing the challenges of operating during the COVID-19 pandemic, we are committed to adapting our education experiences to meet the needs of a potentially unconventional upcoming school year based on teachers' recommendations and supplemental needs. As the environment permits, I hope to see many of you continue your engagement with the program in the upcoming year, and I truly appreciate your support, passion, and commitment. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Mary Ann, and our precious survivors, Roni Berenson, Erica Gold, Albert Hirsch, and George Cronenberg. And thank you, teachers, for allowing us to engage and educate your students. Thanks to Shari Tikva, for housing our exhibit, and to all of our wonderful Judaica presenters, docents, survivors, and 2G presenters. And thanks to our 60th anniversary sponsors who supported and made this new exhibit possible. We are grateful to our generous friends for your sustaining support, especially during this unprecedented pandemic period. We hope that you will continue to support Kol Israel during this difficult year when we are challenged to make our educational programs accessible for the students of Northeast Ohio. We will be so appreciative of your donations, allowing us to expand our vital mission of celebrating resilience, memorializing survivors, and educating the community about the consequences of hate. You may choose to contribute in several ways. To our general fund to support the Kol Israel Foundation programming across the board, the Monument Fund to maintain our monument at Zion Memorial Park, or the Education Fund to bring the lessons of the Holocaust to the community through our face-to-face and sharing our story programs during COVID-19. Please visit our website for options and follow our timely blogs. We invite you to supply comments on the blogs and join the ongoing conversation about these relevant newsworthy issues. Be well, be safe, and thank you for celebrating this education exhibit with us.